Hey guys, so today we're going to start the day 3 video. Yesterday we talked about the microscope and the parts of the microscope and how they all work, right? And how to actually use them. Today we're going to talk about calculations that are involved when using microscopes. So if you are ever using a microscope, you will most likely do some of these calculations. All right, so first thing you need to know is the total magnification. As you know, a microscope is has up to 2, sometimes 3 lenses, okay? So you have the lens that is in your eyepiece, which is your eye lens, and then you have your objective lenses, which are down here. The objective lenses you can have times 4, times 10, times 40, and times 100, and you can switch between them like you saw yesterday, depending on how far down you want to zoom into your image, okay? So first thing you need to know is these lenses work together to make the image even larger than what it really is. So if I was only going to use my eyepiece, I can only zoom into my image times 10 times, right? Which is obviously not enough when I'm trying to look at a cell because cells are so tiny, I need to zoom in way more than that. And if I was only going to use my objective lenses, I could only zoom in times 4, times 10, times 40, or times 100 times. And even that would not be enough. So instead, I use my eye lens to magnify the image of my objective lens. So if I have my objective lens set to times 40, and then my eye lens is times 10, in total, I can zoom in on that image 400 times, okay? So my total magnification is the magnification of my eye lens times the magnification of my objective lens. All right. So guys, if you ever get a question like this, let's say we're doing the oil immersion one, to find your total magnification, all you have to do is 10 times 100. So my total magnification would be times 1,000, which means that this microscope is now set to zoom into my image 1,000 times. All right, so now we're gonna move on to how to actually calculate things using the microscope. So the first thing we need to know is our magnification. Magnification is basically the setting that your microscope is actually set to. So if my microscope is set to 1,000 times, that's my magnification. It means that I can zoom in on an image 1,000 times, right? So the image that I'm looking at of the bacteria is 1,000 times larger than what the actual bacteria actually is, right? Second thing is my image size. The image size is the size of the bacteria or the cell after it has been magnified, which means that it's going to be way, way, way bigger than what the bacteria actually is. Remember, the whole purpose of using a microscope is so that we can see things that are very small by making them appear larger. So your image size is the size of the bacteria or the cell after you have zoomed into it. So it's going to be a lot bigger than it really is. And then your actual size is the size of the actual bacteria, right? So this is going to be a way smaller number. If you're ever doing a question and you realize that your actual size is larger than your image size, that means that you've done something wrong because the bacteria is actually very small, and when you zoom into it, the image of that bacteria will be a lot larger. So you guys, in order to use this triangle, maybe some of you have already used it in your math classes, but it's a good idea to just get to know this because this is also going to help you later on next year in chemistry and then later on again in physics, okay? So right here, to find I, it's A times M. To find M, it's I divided by A, and to find A, it's I divided by M. So basically you just use the triangle like that. If two things are on top of each other, then you divide them. If you're trying to find A and these two are on top of each other, you divide this by this, I divided by M. And if you're trying to find I, you just multiply them. All right, so let's try this example here. I want you guys to follow the same procedure that I'm following just because it helps you keep your thoughts organized and it makes sure that you don't miss out on anything. And this is also going to help you out next year for chemistry and later on for physics and stuff like that. So the first thing, I'm going to find my givens. What is given to me in the question? So I know my magnification is times 350. The reason I know this is because magnification always has an x at the end. So m equals 350x. And then my image size is always going to be the number that is underneath the image, right? Because this is the picture that has been zoomed in, so this is obviously not my actual size. So I is equal to 250 millimeters. And now let's find my unknown. All right, my unknown here is calculate the actual size. So A is equal to question mark. So in order to find A, I need to use my triangle. A is equal I divided by M. And if I was looking for M, it would be M equals I divided by A. And if I was looking for I, it would be I equals A times M. Okay, guys? So this is basically how you're supposed to use it. So A equals I over M. I over M. And now I'm just going to take my givens and put them into my equation to find my unknown. So I is 250 millimeters divided by A, which is 350x. So A is equal to, and obviously you can use a calculator to solve this. All right, it's 0.714 millimeters. So that is the actual size of my bacteria or of my cell that I'm looking at. This is definitely not a bacteria because it's actually a pretty large organism. So who knows what it really is, but whatever. All right, we're going to try another example. Okay, so now let's try this question. Okay, so, calculate the magnification of this image if it has an actual size of 0.001 millimeters and an image size of 1 millimeter. So let me see what my unknowns. I know my actual size and I know my image size. So givens are A equals to 0.001 millimeters because my actual size is 0.001 and my image size equals to 1 millimeter, right? Now let's find my unknown. What am I looking for in this question? I am looking for my magnification because it says calculate magnification. So M equals to question mark. So now I have to figure out what the equation I'm going to use is. So I go to my triangle, IM, right? And I go to M. M equals I divided by A, right? So M equals to I divided by A. Then I'm going to take all my givens and put them into my equation. 1 millimeter divided by 0.001 millimeter. This is going to, after putting it into your calculator, you're going to get a total of 1,000 times magnification, okay? Very simple. You find your givens, anything that is given to you in the question, you figure out what you're looking for, you create an equation, and then you use your givens to find your unknown, right? So, this is correct. This is obviously the answer key. And now we're going to try one more question. Okay, so calculate the image size of an organism with an actual size of 0.02 millimeters and a magnification of 100 times. So, our givens are A equals 0.02 millimeters and our magnification is equal to 100 times. Now, what's our unknown? I could see from the question that it's asking me to calculate the image size. So my unknown is obviously going to be I, question mark. So now I need to find which equation I'm going to use. I is on top this time, it's not on the bottom, so I'm not going to be doing any dividing. I equals to A times M, okay? Whatever you're looking for is going to be on the other side of the equals, and everything else is going to be, you know, what you're actually calculating. So I equals to A times m. This is because a and m are next to each other and not on top of each other, so I'm going to do a multiplication. Okay? So a is equal to 0.02 millimeters times my magnification, which is 100 times. My image size is going to end up being 2 millimeters long, right? Remember, you can use your calculator for this, just to make sure. And yes, this is my final answer, okay? So remember, every question, first you find your givens, then you find your unknown, you use the triangle to create an equation, you put these numbers in, and you find your final answer. Very, very simple. Especially using this triangle, it will make your life so much easier than having to memorize or anything like that. All right, guys, so now you're going to go on Shobi, and you are going to complete the worksheet that is ready for you. And that's pretty much it for today. So good luck, guys.